Hey everyone, welcome to our lectures. So today is our first lecture and we are going to talk about genes and chromosome. So basically one X and one Y chromosome is equal to XY, which is called male. You know, the X and Y chromosomes join together and they make male. And then one X and two Y, leave this one, we're going to talk about this one. Two X chromosomes is equal to XX, which is called female. So we have two most important genders, which is male and female, and then after these two comes some other genders as well. So we have one X and two Y chromosome. X is inherited from female mother and Y is inherited from father. So if the child inherits Y from father, then it is male. But if the child inherits X from father, then it is female. So right now we have here one X and two Y chromosome. Here one Y chromosome is extra, which is XYY. So this is also male, but that male has more aggressiveness in his behavior. And then we have two X and one Y chromosome. Here we have extra X, which is female with male characteristics. Why does this female have male characteristics? Is because we have Y here. We have one Y here, you can see. And then we have trisomy is equal to XX0 or XY0. This is called Down syndrome. This one is in females and this one is in males. Next, we're going to take a look at some important points. Humans have total 23 chromosomes. Okay, and then chromosomes. What are chromosomes? We're going to talk about what are chromosomes. So it is a strand of chemical protein in nucleus of cell. So we have a cell, assume this is a cell, and we have a nucleus inside it, and inside this nucleus, imagine this is nucleus. Inside this nucleus we have strands of chemical protein. So these are called chromosomes. And then chromosomes are made up of genes on threads of chromosomes. So we have two types of genes, X and Y. Either this is gonna make XX or XY. Okay, so this is female and this is male. What are these called? These are called genes. Chromosomes are made up of genes on threads of chromosomes. ये जो threads है ना, ये जो these threads, they have genes. Okay, and then chromosomes consist of double strands of DNA molecules. These two strands are double strands, consist of DNA molecules. DNA molecules, these type of molecules on these strands, we are going to talk about them later. Next we have proteins on chromosome. We have structural proteins, determine structure of organisms. These are structural proteins which determine the structure of organism, how an organism is gonna look alike in physical form. So it means bones, hair, organs and teeth. And then we have enzymes, makes metabolism of organism, basic actions of bodies, how body performs the basic actions. This work is performed by enzymes. Next we are going to talk about genes. We have genotype and phenotype. So what gene says you could be and what you actually turn out to be after life shapes you. So genotype, just guess it, genes, genotype. Genotype means how genes shape you, how your genes tell you what you are, like you inherited from your parents and how your genes are. And from phenotype, as you can see, geno means genes, from genes, and phenotype means from environment, how your environment shapes you. Sets of genes you inherited from your parents, as you can see, sets of genes you inherited from your parents, and you even inherited their traits, their diseases, and all the other things. Traits after your genes meet the environment. After you have inherited the genes, and then you are exposed to the outer environment, social environment, and then you shape your behavior and your experiences according to your environment. That is called phenotype. Next we have Mendelian genetics. Dominant traits are traits that are expressed. Recessive traits are inherited but not expressed. They remain in background. Okay, so we are going to talk about here about dominant traits and recessive traits. So basically, you inherited one trait from father and one from mother. Okay, so these both traits, one of them is dominant and powerful. That one is gonna be expressed in you, and another one is recessive. That one is also inherited, but it will not be expressed because it is working in background, not exposed, and get expressed when offsprings get a recessive gene from both parents. But if both the parents, like you can see, both the parents possess the recessive gene, then only then will the offspring express that gene, express that trait. Experience cannot affect the hereditary genes. Your experience, your environment, how life shapes you, phenotype, how experience and environment shapes you, that experience cannot affect your genes, will not affect how you inherited from your parents your genes. Okay, next we have mutation, a permanent change in your DNA that can be passed to kids. It is a change in your DNA that can be passed to kids. Once there's a change in DNA, and that DNA will be passed through your generations. Next we have genetic mutation and chromosomal mutation. Only one gene gets changed, like a typo in one sentence of a book. In genetic mutation, only one gene gets changed, and it is like one typo in a sentence of a book. Whole chunks of chromosomes change, missing, extra, or rearrange. In this mean, whole chunks or whole unit of a chromosome changes, or like it goes missing, or it is an extra, or it rearranges itself. And here we have example too. In genetic mutation, sickle cell anemia, and in chromosomal, Down syndrome. We have in Down syndrome XX0 or XY0. So there we have extra one or missing. So this is chromosomal mutation, which is why we have Down syndrome. Next we have alleles, two versions of the same gene. Eye color gene, mom's allele is equal to brown and dad's allele is equal to blue. So we have two versions of the same gene, like both the parents have lens colors. So now eye color genes, mom have the brown and dad has the blue. So these both two genes are called alleles. These are called alleles. And then we have homozygous and heterozygous. Both alleles are same, brown plus brown or blue plus blue. Like both the parents possess blue eyes or either brown eyes, and so what this means, these both alleles are same. So this is called homozygous. But if, like here you can see, mom has the brown and dad has the blue eyes, so these are the different, so these are called different alleles, brown plus blue. Next we have the full form of DNA, which is deoxyribonucleic acid. This is also important to keep in mind. Then we have the DNA structure. It is twisted ladder double helix. You can see it is something like this. Side of ladder made of sugar plus phosphate. Steps of ladder made of 4 chemical bases that pair up in mixed ways. So these are made up of sugar and phosphate, and here we have steps on these ladders, which are based on 4 chemical bases that pair up in fixed ways. You know, like their pairs are not going to change. Their pairs will stay in the same way. Like adenine always pairs with thymine, and guanine always pairs with cytosine. AT and GC. A, T, G, C, you know. And then we have the hereditary transfer. Dad's DNA plus mom's DNA, which mixes in you and locked in a cell nucleus. So when your body needs brown eye protein, dad has brown eyes, mom has brown eyes, this is mixed in you and now it is locked in your nucleus cell. DNA makes an mRNA copy. DNA makes messenger RNA copy. It makes a message copy, and message goes out. Ribosomes makes protein. Ribosomes are also present in nucleus. Ribosomes makes protein to give you brown eyes. Okay, you understand the hereditary transfer process? You inherit it from your parents, and now that it is in your parents' DNA, it is mixed in you and it is now locked in your nucleus. Whenever your body is making your eyes lens, then it will make a messenger RNA. Messenger RNA will go out, and then ribosome will start to make that protein, and then you will get the result. DNA never leaves home. It just sends messages. As you can see, DNA makes an messenger RNA copy. It doesn't leave on its own. It sends message. Now we have genetic variability. If one parent has sickle cell gene but the other doesn't, kid is carrier but healthy. If only one parent has sickle cell, then the kid is going to inherit it, but it will be recessive. It will not be expressed. If you get one bad plus one good gene, good one will wins. But if you get two bad, then bad one will wins. Big gene pool is equal to marriage outside of relatives. You know, if marriages are going into cousin marriages, from cousin to cousin, from cousin to cousin, then this is a small gene pool. That is small gene pool. But if the marriage is gonna be outside of the family to other relatives or even out of the relatives, that is big gene pool. Means your genes will inherit new traits and new genetic mutation from others. Next we have inbreeding. A small gene pool is equal to, this is cousin marriage or small isolated group. Same genes get reused again and again. Like I told you, a small gene pool is one where your genes get reused again and again from one family to in the same family. But if your marriages are going to happen to one family to another family, then that will be big gene pool. Now we are going to talk about sex-linked trait, X-linked traits. Male is equal to XY, we've already talked about it. Only one X. If that X has a bad gene, there's no backup. So it shows up. Since male has X and Y, X do not have backup and Y also do not have any backup. So if the X has any bad gene, then that bad gene is gonna show up. That will be dominant. So like color blindness, if dad is colorblind, all his sons are fine, all daughters are carriers, because sons are gonna inherit Y from the dad and daughters are gonna inherit X from the dad. So the carrier one will be the daughters. Okay, since daughter inherited 1X from mother and 1X from father, and father X had a bad gene, so daughters are gonna inherit it, not son, because son will inherit Y from the dad. Females, which is XX, 2X, if one X has bad gene, the other normally X usually covers it. She's just a carrier. As you can see, if one X has any bad gene, the other one is gonna cover it. And the daughter will be carrier, but it will be recessive. It will not show up. Bad traits show only if both X have bad genes. If both X of mother has bad gene, only then the daughter will inherit it, or son. Two rules of X-linked traits. More common in males because they have no backup X. Okay, it is more common in males. As you can see, it is gonna inherit it from father to daughter. Okay, so this is more common in males because they do not have backup of X. They only have one X. Father can't pass it to son because son gets Y from dad, not X, as I told you earlier. Example: hemophilia, color blindness, Huntington's chorea. Now we're going to talk about Turner syndrome. Girls who has only one X, which is X0, missing other sex chromosome, then that girl is gonna have Turner syndrome.